Hello and welcome to another edition of the CarGuide's car review, and this time I'm smiling. We have got ourselves the new Huracan Performante. It's a car which has got a lot more horsepower than the regular Huracan, and it's a lot lighter. The two key elements to actually getting some great performance out of a car of this genre. Some of the specialties of this car will be discussed during the review. But one of the features which I do need to tell you about are these carbon fiber composite forged elements which are there at the on the lower airfoils there and in the rear. We'll get around to a more detailed review. In the meantime, let me get to some driving in this car. So what does Lamborghini bring to the equation in terms of the Performante? The Huracan, as we all know, was a great revelation. It brought in a lot of aluminium along with that huge carbon fiber composite rear firewall. That entire area was designed in such a way to be extremely rigid, and the rest of the body was made of lightweight aluminium. We're using new techniques so that you get these really sharp edges on the external panels. But now the Performante is a car which uses far more of the carbon fiber element, and this time around they're forged carbon fiber elements, completely different to the general way in which carbon fiber is made, where it's put down in layers and then bonded with resin and then formed into a general shape where once the shape sets in, it's then autoclaved so that you get that rigid carbon fiber structure. Great with tensile strengths, not so great with overall rigidity. But in this car, it's using a new process where the carbon fiber elements are forged in, and that's been done with Lamborghini's collaboration with US universities. These carbon fiber elements are a result of that. You see a lot of these in the rest of the car, including in the interiors and on the rear. What it has done is it's helped the car drop weight by almost 40 kilos, and that's a huge amount in terms of a performance car. The second part which has gone in the favor of the car is that it's got extra horsepower. The engine now puts out 640 horsepower with that 600 Newton meters of torque. So in essence, the forged carbon fiber elements add the perform into the Performante, whereas the car's power ante is upped with the extra horsepower in the engine. See how I managed to squeeze in those two elements into the name of the car? That's the way this car is going to bring about further surprises. It's got different drive modes. It's definitely designed to a more race-like environment, but I don't think we're going to get to do much racing here on the streets of Muscat. Let's see how the review goes. Now that's the instrument panel readout when you put the car into Corsa mode. It's completely different than when you put it in the sport mode, where it pops back into the regular layout, and Strada changes ever so slightly there. Alright, now we are at the rear of the car. And here's the best view of all these forged carbon fiber parts. This huge wing here is one rigid piece, and it's part of the Lamborghini's ALA system, which literally translates into an active flow system. But what they've done in this is they've not actually given a motorized control over these flaps. There's an air intake somewhere here at the end of this engine cover, and that air is channeled up and through these slots, and you have air outlets which are at the bottom of this, and these are controlled by flaps within the system. So what it does is, if it senses that you need a high downforce, it makes the airflow move in such a way that it puts extra downforce on the car. It's almost similar to what's out there in the front, though in the front the flaps are actually motorized with integrated motors in it, so the flaps do move. In this case, it's a method of channeling the airflow, and in fact the control over the airflow is so good that if you're cornering and you take the car in at a very high speed into a corner, it can differentiate and it can adjust the airflow on the inside and the outside of the flap. So you get more downforce exactly where you need it on the wheels and less downforce on the other side. As you can see, the system also has extra elements here. The exhaust pipes from the normal Huracan have been shifted. They've come up. Now the entire thing looks a lot meaner, and it looks more raw. I love the way the exhaust pipes do not have any embellishments, no chroming. You have got this sort of galvanized feel to the exhaust, and that's very much in the character of the car. And we are now here at the beating heart of this car. 640 HP out of that 10-cylinder naturally aspirated engine there. Of course, the car now comes with the signature element of a bronze color for the headers. So this entire area looks completely different from what you would normally see in the other Huracans. This is a signature color for the car, and it's supposed to be available also for the wheels. So you can get your alloy wheels matched to the engine cover. But the rest of the car again continues to show that carbon fiber elements. If you look through the parts around the engine, you can see that same sort of mottled carbon fiber feel, including for the cross brace here. So this entire thing looks as if it is made out of one piece of carbon fiber, and it definitely adds to the character of this engine bay. And here we are at the side of the car. As you can see, we have got these nice carbon ceramic pads in here. The entire brakes are of course larger. You've got a greater stopping power with these, and along with the Performante badging along the side of the car, you get these streaks of green, white and red. No, they're not the Oman flag. They are the Italian flag depicted along the side of the car, and it adds to the character of the car. It's definitely a head turner, and I've had quite a few people immediately looking at the car as it drove by, despite its rather muted darkish grey color. It's going to be a great day today. Now that I've squeezed in here, have a look at some of the changes on the interior. The trick to losing 40 kilos on the Performante has been partly exterior related, but some of it is interior related as well. So you see now the air conditioning nacelles are hexagonal rather than the old feel of a jet engines which they were propagating. These are forged carbon fiber elements here on top of the dashboard, along the center console, and we also have carbon fiber elements here. The door has also lost weight because of a couple of motors being taken out of the door, and along with the upholstery on the door and the seats, you see this hexagonal pattern made up of little three-pointed stars. These stars have been cut out using lasers. It definitely adds a little panache to the upholstery, and it gives you a talking point. But I don't think you're going to have as strong a talking point as the fact that you've got a sub 3 second 0 to 100 kilometer acceleration in the car. It's at 2.9 seconds. Sometime during the day, we hope we manage to get a quick spurt out of it, but I don't think that's going to happen with all the police around. I'm glad you could join me for this drive of the Lamborghini Huracan Performante. We've told you before during the introduction, the car's definitely a different machine from the regular Huracan, just as much as the rear wheel drive version of the Huracan was different from the Huracan. Of course, in terms of the Performante, you're not looking at a pure rear wheel drive arrangement anymore, but what you have is along the lines of Italian sports cars which come out with race car versions where they drop weight significantly, and then to top it all they add in extra horsepower on the engine. The Performante follows the formula. Yes, it is lighter. It's almost 40 kilos lighter, and at the same time its horsepower increases to 640 horsepower. What it does to the car is it gives it a nice little edge in terms of its ability to pick up and hit the standing 120s and all. But more important is the fact that performance above the 120 to the 200 levels is astounding. Your torque, of course, 600 Newton meters through this gearbox. The delivery has never been in question. It's got the ability to really throw in horsepower as you need it. We've also got the ability to overtake when required. The all-wheel drive arrangement is something which really adds to the performance of the car. If you get your hands on the Performante, what you need to do is ensure that when you drive the car, you keep the audio switched off. Yeah, the car does come with a great audio system. I mean, after spending close to $250,000 on something, you're not going to want a car which doesn't have a great sound system. But forget that for the time being. Just leave it switched off and listen to the hum of the engine as it burbles along. Then when you push it into sport, you can hear it as it starts revving a little higher. Like now we are in Strada. We put it into sport, and that burble, whatever. It's so much fun. There, you can hear the gases all fighting along within the exhaust, kicking their way out, kicking and screaming as if like they want to be the first one out there. It's beautiful. That sound is so nice. It seems almost cruel for the car to have this little warning where at 120 a bell chimes and you get a warning of speed exceeded. The car is really in its element with speeds way above 120. Up to 120 it seems as if it's choked, it's pulled back. There's this feel of it rocking a little more than it need to. The engine sounds as if it is throttled, and it really doesn't feel comfortable. You almost feel like asking it, are you ill? But above 120, it smoothens out. Everything gets all that little bit better. Well, unfortunately, we are hitting an 80 zone now. So, we slow down. Hi there, welcome back. We've had a great day of driving the Lamborghini Huracan Performante. It did spring a few surprises. Its Corsa mode is really aggressive. The sport mode is more about bringing a level of envy into the drivers around you. The way the engine burbles, the exhaust communicates. But the Corsa mode brings in a few settings which make the car really aggressive. And unfortunately, we don't have a track on hand to really check out how far the Corsa will take us. But the Performante in general is definitely one of the cars which Lamborghini will try to push for people who could afford the Huracan but want something more out of that genre. Just look at the car. It looks so great. It looks aggressive. That carbon fiber elements are really in your face. There's a bit of a mottled look about the forgings, but that really gives the car some character. Overall, we've always been in love with Lamborghinis, even from the time of the Gallardo when it was a lot harsher. The new Huracan, of course, brought in creature comforts and drivability, which is so much more customer friendly and novice friendly, if you really want to put it in that way. But the car, finally, this one is something where you could be just as comfortable driving around town, or if you manage to get down to Dubai or Abu Dhabi and find a track, you could enjoy yourself at the track day, really push it hard, and manage to get those ceramic brakes smoking. Well, we have not been able to do that, but definitely we have enjoyed our day out with the Performante. We've managed to end our day here at the Crown Plaza, at the Oman Exhibition Center. It's a new hotel with a completely new approach as far as they're promoting, and a new car like the Huracan Performante seems a little bit at home in front of it. So here's a big thank you to Paul and Leon from the Crown Plaza for allowing us to do some of our still photography here. And bye-bye. Join us on another car guide, car review some other time. This is Raj Warrior signing out. Bye-bye.